What if you could take a plain plastic bauble and turn it into a dazzling 3D white owl ornament that looks like it belongs in a luxury boutique? I'll show you how to transform it with reverse and traditional decoupage, glitter, rhinestones, and extravagant bows. This DIY ornament will wow your tree. Hello, my crafty friends. I'm Donna from Mason Creations, etc. and welcome to my channel. So if you're ready to give this a try, let's make a mess. The first thing I'm doing is getting this gorgeous rice paper prepped and ready to decoupage. I'm in love with this paper with all the blue and white. It's so sophisticated, and today we're going to make this ornament amazing. I have a 4-inch round plastic base that I'm using. It splits in half, so I'm going to use that to my advantage. I marked the paper where I'm going to separate the owl's face using a water brush. A water brush has a cartridge that you fill with water and then brush it on the napkin or rice paper. The water dispenses easily, so this is really convenient. You can find this in my description box below in my favorite tools section, just in case you want to check it out. I'm making the paper a little bigger than the ornament. It's a dome, so I'll need a little more paper to make it fit. Since it's a dome, I'm tearing some slits all the way around the paper so it will lay flat on the plastic. Where the slits are, the paper will overlap each other just a little bit. This is what will make the paper lay flat. Once everything is finished, you won't even notice where they overlap. However, I'm making sure not to put any slits over his face. You always want to tear your rice paper or napkin instead of cutting it. A torn edge is much easier to blend than a sharp cut edge. I'm going to use Polyvine multi-surface lacquer as my decoupage glue today. This product is great as a base coat for anything shiny, such as glass, plastic, or ceramic. It adds a gripping layer to give your paint or decoupage glue great adhesion. Instead of painting a layer first, I'm going to use it as my decoupage glue. It will save me some time and I'll get the same fabulous results. All the Polyvine varnishes can double as a decoupage glue. So whichever one you choose to use as your top coat, you can also use as your decoupage glue. I got my owl positioned where I wanted it and then painted the lacquer on top of the rice paper. I feel like I have more control of positioning when decoupaging in this manner. The lacquer will seep through the paper and adhere it nicely to the plastic base. I'm putting it on generously, especially around the edges. This is going to be a reverse decoupage, so my rice paper is going on the outside of the plastic. The right side of the paper will be adhered to the plastic, so when you turn it over, you'll be able to clearly see the owl. You'll have some excess paper hanging over. We'll remove that in a little bit. This and all the products you're going to see me use today came from decoupagenapkins.com, my wonderful sponsors. I'm going to fussy cut some of the leaves and roses from the remaining images on the paper. These are going on the other part of the plastic base to give this a nice 3D appearance. Fussy cut means to cut out the images with precision, just like we used to do with paper dolls. I'm adding the roses and leaves to the front piece of the ornament base on the outside as well. Only this time I'm laying them down right side up, since this application will not be reverse decoupage. I'm painting the lacquer over top of the paper just like I did with the owl. I'm painting it right up to the edge of the paper but not going over the edge. I had to put a slit in the paper here as well so it would lay nice and flat. If I got any lacquer on the plastic area, I made sure to get it off right away with a towel and some Windex. I have some excess paper hanging over the edge, which will get removed shortly. I'll let that dry for a couple of hours. Where are you all watching from, my crafty friends? Let me know in the comments. I just love to see what cities and countries all my friends are watching from. I'm filming from sunny Las Vegas, Nevada in the United States. I'm using a medium grit sandpaper to remove all the excess napkin from around the edges. I'm sanding in a downward motion. This cuts the paper clean right at the edge of your base. I'm going around the entire thing until all the excess paper has been removed. Make sure you don't go in an upward motion. That could lift your paper. In order for the two pieces of this ornament to fit together, there is a slight inverted lip where they connect. It seems to be a little easier to use scissors on the front piece. I'm using Dixie Belle chalk paint in the color cotton to cover the back side of the owl paper. I'm going to add 2 coats to make sure it's completely opaque. Make sure you always paint white or a very light off-white wherever you're going to decoupage rice paper or a napkin. White allows the colors in your images to look more vibrant. Dark colors will make your images look dark and muddy. I'll let that dry for about an hour. I'm using Polyvine heavy-duty wood varnish to seal the roses on the front of the ornament. And again, I'm being very careful not to go over the edge of the paper. All of the Polyvine varnishes are wonderful sealers, but the heavy-duty wood varnish is my preferred one to use. I love the flawless satin sheen it gives, which is moisture, heat, abrasion, chemical and stain resistant, as well as food safe. It's water-based, so there is no strong smell or harmful fumes. Are you ready to add a little glitz to this project? That's what's coming up next. I'm using the heavy-duty wood varnish as a glue for some glitter. My nail art brushes are perfect to add a nice thin line of the varnish down the center of the leaves. The glitter is a shimmery white called Snow. After I paint the lines, I'm sprinkling on the glitter and then using a dry brush, wiping around my glue to remove all the excess glitter that wants to stick around. It will blow off too. I also lined around the edges of the rose petals. It's officially glitter season. My whole studio is glistening right now, my friends. DecoupageNapkins.com has such a great selection of napkins that you can purchase one at a time. They carry many other craft supplies such as rice paper, paint, clay, molds, and a great selection of Polyvine products. Over 9,000 products and growing. They are wonderful to work with and will send your order out fast. You'll receive free shipping on orders over $75 and special bonus points for orders over $100. Subscribe to their newsletter by entering your email address, and you'll receive 10% off your next order. They are truly your one-stop shop for craft supplies. Make sure you check them out. I'll be leaving links for all the products I use in my description box below, as well as more information on the previously mentioned promotions. Please note that any of these promotions are subject to future changes. There are some feathery twigs on the left side of the owl, which were screaming, "Glitter me!" So of course I had to. And wait until you see what I'm going to do next. I'm going to cover up that back with a really cool technique. Stick around, you're going to want to see this. I'm using my favorite, DOS clay, to cover the entire back of this ornament. But first I'm going to give it some wood grain. I'm rolling out the clay on a piece of a Ziploc bag. I'm rolling it super thin, about 1/8 of an inch. I want it thin or the ornament will be too heavy. Since it's so thin, I'd never be able to pick it up without damaging it. So that's why I'm rolling it onto the plastic. I'm using a texture mat that has a wood grain pattern on it. I'm placing it on the clay and then rolling over it again on top of the mat. This will press it into the clay, leaving the pattern. I test all the products that I recommend in my videos. I won't recommend anything that I haven't used myself and prefer. If I'm recommending it, you can bet it's a great product. Each product will be listed in my description box below and will have a blue link to make it easy for you to find. Any of the links I provide are safe for you to click on. I'm spreading Aleene's tacky glue over the back of the ornament, and then I'll add the clay while it's still wet. This way it will conform to the domed ornament as it dries. Elaine's tacky glue is the best I've found for gluing wet clay to a piece. I'm peeling the clay very delicately off of the plastic and laying it down over the glue. I pressed it down and then trimmed off the excess with my palette knife. I made sure to press down all the edges to make them secure. Now I'll let this dry overnight. The clay is dry and I'm going to give it a coat of white paint. I'll let that dry for about an hour and then I'll give it a coat of the heavy-duty wood varnish. I'm going to be doing some antique and I need a shiny surface for that. I'll also let the varnish dry for an hour. Make sure you stay tuned to see how I antique this. It's going to be really different. I put a little bit of glazing medium in a small paper cup, about a teaspoon. I'm mixing a little bit of Pentart Country Blue paint in with the glazing medium. And this color is just perfect. It matches the blue in the rice paper. Use very little paint. It doesn't take much. I mixed that together and gave it a spritz of water to make it a little bit runnier. I'm painting this on and then wiping it off the surface with a soft dry cloth. It will stay in all the deep crevices and wipe off the top surface. The reason it wipes off the surface is because of the satin varnish. If I hadn't added that first, the white paint would have grabbed onto the antique and none of it would have wiped off. I'll let that dry for about an hour and then another coat of varnish to protect what I just did. After the varnish dries in an hour, I'm going to add another layer of beauty to the back of this ornament. I'm using Sizzix luster wax in the color silver to add some gorgeous highlights. I'm putting a small amount of the rub on my finger and rubbing it together with my thumb. Smearing it around like that prevents a large amount of your product ending up in one place. I'm gluing the two pieces together now. I snapped it into place and I'll let that dry for a few hours. The turquoise item that you're seeing me use is called a cup cradle. It's made from silicone and I rely on it a lot. I use this anytime I'm working on something round. It keeps my piece from rolling away from me. I get a lot of people asking me what it is. There'll be a link in my description box below, just in case you want to check it out. I'm going to add some really pretty braided silver trim around the seam, but first I'm adding a white tassel at the center bottom. If you're enjoying this video, please let me know by hitting that like button. And why not share this with a friend? Thanks for doing that. You won't want to miss any of the new projects coming up, so don't forget to subscribe. These are some cute little snowflake stickers for nails, but the size is just perfect for this ornament. I am going to add some of them here and there on the front of the ornament. I mostly put them around the edges so I wouldn't cover up this owl's beautiful face. I'm going to use my mini bow dabber tool to make a beautiful bow for this project. There are vertical slits and horizontal slits. Add a thin cord or a small ribbon through the vertical slits. Then you can layer your ribbon back and forth in the horizontal slits, using as many layers of ribbon or as many different types of ribbon that you want to. After you have all your layers of ribbon, pull up the two ends of your small cord in the vertical slits and tie them together. You can then safely lift up your newly made bow. I bring the cord around to the back and tie it in a knot. Now you can add an embellishment to the center of the bow, or another tiny bow. I just love this little tool. You can find this in my description box below in my favorite tools section in case you want to check it out. I used some of the silver cord to make a hanger. And now I'm gluing all the bows. I made 2 smaller bows for the bottom of the ornament, and I'm gluing them on first. I'm setting them to the top of the tassel, one in the front and one in the back. All the ribbon was way too long, so I clipped them all to the length that looked best. Now it's time for the 2 top bows. I glued one in the front and one in the back. I glued them to the little round loop at the very top that I tied the hanger to. Then I cut all the ribbon on those as well. Don't forget, all of the wonderful products I'm using today can be found at my favorite place for craft supplies, decoupagenapkins.com, and I'll leave you links in my description box below. And now for the glam I'm sure you've been expecting. These are some rhinestone buttons that reminded me a little of snowflakes. These will go in the center of the large bows on top. And these tiny little rhinestone snowflakes will go in the bottom bow centers. I've added a link to a video that I think you may enjoy. Click the picture on the right to be taken directly to that video. I'm so happy you were here with me today, and thanks so much for watching. I can't wait to see you all next week. I'm working on a new project with you in mind. You can subscribe by clicking my picture in the top right corner.